I just finished fixing the TV board from another repair shop, and let's move on to the next job. We have a special letter. This is a letter from the capital city of Zimbabwe, that is Harare, to BST African Electronic Surgery, phone number HP 250G2 motherboard not turning on. Initially, it was turning on, but no picture. I guess we have more than one fault on the board. Phone number, Laxon Harare CBD. Big fan on YouTube. Okay. Everyone is a big fan on YouTube. I have to treat you all equally. But thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And what the customer is saying, I need a video if you can do it. Thank you in advance. So we have a nice friend who is a subscriber from the capital city of Zimbabwe, that is Harare, who brought this to us. What is this? This is an HP motherboard G2. And the person phoned me. He's also a technician trying to fix things. So I have to see what is inside this. Let's see what is coming from a big town of Zimbabwe. They are sending things from a big town to a small town. How is that possible? Sending motherboards for repair from the capital city. Oh, we have a nice motherboard. G2, some RAM. Okay. What else do we have here? No, we have nothing. Okay. So, that is surprise. That is surprise from my best friend. Okay, we have some RAM. Okay, you remember what he told us? He said initially the laptop was turning on but no picture. So probably he tried with these RAMs, and you know, yeah, I feel good if people they know that RAM can be another cause for no display. And it is very true. That means the learning process is taking place. So if the RAM did not work, what about checking other things? The GPU power supply, BIOS, or other things. Okay. So let's see. We do have the charging port. What you can see on this motherboard, I think that's the first step. HP 250. We have the BIOS battery here. DDR2 2 gig RAM, the fan. We have the processors, some kind of all-in-one processor with the GPU and the graphics inside. With the GPU and the PCH inside. We have more power supply. Check this power supply. 2 coils, 4 MOSFET, output capacitor, and the driver. Surely this is the 3.3 and 5 volts power supply. We explained about these things many times. And here, underneath the RAM, we have a big MOSFET Winboard, that the BIOS chip. Okay, we're just looking at the motherboard. Before we start the job, we have E.T.C here. That's the controller, the E.C chip here. Okay. Otherwise, the motherboard looks fine. Okay. So, what we need to do, let's go to 19 volts on the power supply. Without wasting time, let's connect the power supply. Okay. Power supply connected. How many amps? 3.5 amps. That's fantastic. We need a chip for HP. That's the blue P. This one. Let's connect the power supply. Power supply connected. It's taking 4 amps. It's taking 3.5 amps without the battery. And voltage drop to 4 volts. Huh? How is that possible? Huh? Checking 3.5 amps, the max current. Check here. Where's that chip? Huh? Okay, it's here. Check here. Check on the screen. Check here. It's taking 3.5 amps and there's voltage drop to 4 volts. Huh? So something is getting made what here? Huh? Oh, I just burned my finger. I just burned my finger. Let's go under microscope. Let's go under microscope. What is here? We have the charging port. And on the other side of the charging port, we have the MOSFETs. Those are the MOSFETs. You can see those MOSFETs. First MOSFET, second current sensor. From this point, the voltage is going everywhere. Huh? Okay. What else do we have? We have the IT8518E. That's the microcontroller. Yeah, it is. Okay. So the area which is getting hot is here. Maybe you can see. We have a capacitor here. This is not a good capacitor at all. Huh? You know what? There's no need to test here. You see this capacitor? This is a bad capacitor. This one is the one which is taking that current, 3.5 amps. So yeah, let's replace the capacitor. This ceramic capacitor connected on the main 19 volts power line. And we have to replace it. Let's replace the capacitor. Huh? Okay. Another capacitor. I'm checking another capacitor from Boss for Space. Let's replace the capacitor. and the capacitor is now in place. That the capacitor, I believe this capacitor is connected to the main 19 volts power line. Diode. Okay. So let's see now. Let me warm the motherboard. So we are at that point which the customer, I don't know what the customer did. I think, you know, if we are doing repairs, bad things can happen. We are trying to fix something, and another problem can emerge. Like in this case, the customer said the laptop was turning on with no display, and I don't know what happened. Now we have shorted main 19 volts power line. How can you explain something like that to the customer? The laptop came in but no display. At the end, it's no longer working at all. At that moment, you realize that the basics of electronics is very important, because you will feel the heat. You know, there are some kind of customer who are hard to deal with. You explain, mine was working but not displaying. Now it's no longer turning on. You have changed the motherboard, all such kind of things. Mistrust issues. So now let's check the main 19 volts power line. Ground on the current sensor is not shorted. Here we have some ceramic capacitors, not shorted. Everything looks fine. So the next step is to plug in the charger. Charger plugged, and is taking 150. It's taking 15 milliamps, and still we don't have charging light. That's bad. No light. Okay. Let's check some voltages. Volts. Let's check some voltages. What voltage do we have on the board? What voltage is missing? On the charging port we have 19.3. I'm checking on ceramic capacitors. We have 19. That gives us our assurance that the first two MOSFETs, they are driving 19 volts. If I check where we replace the capacitor here, we do have 19. Exactly what I told you. That capacitor which was shorted to ground was connected on the main 19 volts power line, and we have 19.3 volts there. Here on those power supplies which I said is the 3.3 and 5 volts, checking coils 0, 0, 19 volts is present. The next step, we do have the BIOS here on pin number 8, 3.29. You can see on the screen 3.29. Okay. VREC 3, we have the driver here 1225C. VREC 3, we do have voltage going to the E.T.C chip, and the VREC 5. Where's my VREC 5? Here. We must have VREC 5 from this chip. Okay. .3 that is V in. Where's my VREC 5? Okay, anyway, what I want to check here with the IET, that's the controller, 3.29, .8, 3.29. So we do have voltage there. Which one is the power on button connector? Any idea? I don't know which one is the power on button connector. This one, that's for the LVDS, for the screen connector. We have another connector here, which I believe this is going to the USBs. Another connector here going to the hard drive. Probably that the touch point and the speaker connector here. We have two connectors here in parallel. On the other end, no, this is the connector for the hard drive. So that one is for the CD-ROM. Okay. I believe it's here. If I do remember well this board. I once fixed this board some time ago. What do we have here? 0, 0, 3.25. Pin number 2. And pin number 4. Pin number 2 and pin number 4. But it looks weird. Why we don't have light here? Why we don't have light? Let's go back a little bit. This looks to be confusing to me. Why we don't have light on the charging port? Any idea? Why we don't have light there? On the current sensor we have 19. Okay. Where's the BQ chip? I believe it's here. 3.3, 18.17, 5.77. Okay. Why? Checking voltage on coil 0. Let's unplug the charger. Diode mode. Let's check the coils to ground. On this one, what about in this one? 191 ohms, 3.45 kilo ohms, 269 ohms, 16 ohms, 81 ohms, 1.2 mega ohms, 9.8 kilo ohms. The coils looks fine. Diode. So what can we say is the problem here? The problem, we don't have the switch. We don't have the switch. Because if we have 19, we have 3.3, but we don't have light here. And I don't think this port is fault. Everything looks fine here. Okay. What I want to check, let's move forward. What I want to check on the capacitors around the EC chip. I think I once have this problem. You have 19, you have 3.3, and you don't have light on the HP. What we did was to reprogram the BIOS. If I do remember, I think I have a video about this. And we reprogrammed the BIOS and everything was working fine. So before we replace the EC chip, because I don't have this EC chip, so I can't temper to take out the EC chip. I don't have this BQ chip. So the only way, the easiest way to go is to try to reload the software. We have a BIOS WinBond here. So let me see. Let me try to look for the firmware and then I'll come back to you. Yeah, it's now 15 minutes after I've started repairing this motherboard from another city. So what we have done so far, we found a shorted capacitor which was connected to the 19 volts power line. We replaced the capacitor. We now have 19, we now have 3.3, but when you plug in the charger, we don't have any light here. So what we discovered, I said, you know what, this is not the first time to have such kind of problem. Based on experience, let's reprogram the BIOS. Okay, so we have the BIOS chip here, that's WinBond. So what I will do, I will take out the BIOS. I'll take out the BIOS chip. The BIOS chip is out, you can see. Now I'll take out the programmer. That's the programmer. EZP 2019 plus. Pin number 1 is supposed to be like this. The BIOS is inserted. Now let's plug in the programmer. It's very easy to reload the software. If that means that is going to give us solution, desktop, now we need to test. The chip has detected. You can see on the screen, chip detected. This is an 8 megabit BIOS chip. Okay. So now let's read the chip. Now the programmer is reading what is inside this chip. Is reading what is inside this chip, because we need to save this file before we format the BIOS chip. That's the right procedure. We can't just erase without doing the backup. So we are doing the backup process first, and then we erase. I found this bin file. I will show you where did I get the bin file for this board. HP 250 G2 motherboard. That's a reading. Read complete. What do you have on here? Do you have anything? Yeah, we have some data. You can see all this data inside this 8 megabit BIOS chip. Next step is to save. Let's save the file on desktop. HP 250 G2 backup. I'll save it on desktop. File have been saved. Let's confirm. Yeah, it has been saved. This one. Now we are now erasing. We are now erasing the chip. After erasing the chip, we will rewrite the chip and we'll test. Yeah, we are erasing the chip. Erase complete. Let's close the program. Let's disconnect the programmer, put it back, opening the program again. Test, chip detected. Let's read the chip. We do this just to confirm if the chip is now empty. So this is the steps that we have to follow if we are to use this programmer. Of course, there are many kind of programmer you can find on AliExpress, eBay, and the other sites. But if you are to use the EZP 2019 plus BIOS programmer, you have to follow these steps. Nothing is difficult. I'm now reading the chip just to confirm if the chip is empty before I put the new file into the chip. Because if the program from the BIOS is corrupt, it's very possible to have miscommunication with the EC chip, and in that way, yeah, you might have no light. It's very possible. The chip is empty. You can see the message. We are fine. Now let's open desktop. We need to look for that chip. This is the one for backup, and this one on top, HP 250 G2. That's the one which I found on Discord. Yeah, that's the one. So let's write the chip. We are now writing the chip. Write complete. You can see. Now we close up the program. We open the program again. We test. And now we read. This is the final step to make sure that we have properly write the chip. You know what? If someone send you a device to repair, especially from a distance, there's an element of trust there. So I feel so bad if this motherboard failed to come back to life. But if we manage to fix this, yeah, I think there's more chances of getting more jobs in the future. Because if there's trust, it means that the customer is most likely to come back. Let's see. Yeah. So we have properly write the chip. So now we need to put back the chip. So let's see now. Let's see now. Let's see now. Let's disconnect the programmer. Let's take out the BIOS chip. And now, what is needed now is to resolder the BIOS chip in place. I wanted to do it with the soldering iron, but it's too long. So let's do a fast thing. So which one is the pin number 1 here? I forget how this BIOS chip must be set on the board. Okay, I found it. Or we can go under microscope, should we? So that people will see. Let's do it on microscope so that everyone will see. Everyone will see what we are trying to do here. Here, we are here. And what we need, we simply need to resolder the BIOS. Okay. All the pins looks fine. That's the BIOS Winbond. So let's resolder the BIOS. The BIOS is now in place. We can resolder all those pins one by one. Okay. All looks fine. Fine. Now is that moment. It is that moment to see if we have done something good or we're just wasting time. Is that moment of the truth. Yeah, I'm cooling the BIOS chip here before we test. Okay. We need the charger. Let's plug in the charger. And we have light. We have light. And it's taking 14 milliamps. Standby. Standby current. Okay. Let's reset the BIOS battery. We do have the BIOS battery here. Maybe we now have a working board. Just like this. Because we reprogram the firmware. Again. And it's taking 23 milliamps. And the light is still present. Let's try to power on this with a tweezer. Pin number 1 to ground. No. Number 2, no. pin number 3 to ground, and the fan is spinning, and the current just jumped to 240, and the motherboard is working fine. Now the question is, do we now have display? So what I would do, I have a TV here on my back. Let me power on the TV. I have a TV. We want to connect the HDMI. You can see that TV. Yeah, I don't know what is happening with the screen. So I need to connect the HDMI. Let's hope. I need to connect the HDMI. Do you have anything on the screen? Okay. Let's power on the motherboard again. Pin number 3 to ground. Shorting pin number 3 to ground. On. And it's working. You can see. Boot device not found. Check on my back there. On a big screen. Boot device not found. Please install operating system on the disk. It's fixed. It's fixed. So this job is done. So there was a corrupt firmware from the BIOS chip. This is really nice. Yeah, it's staying on. It's staying on. So we're done. We're done. The motherboard is working. We'll return back to the customer. But for the purpose of learning, let's just power it on. Let's confirm all voltages on the coils. We fixed this board. Everything is working fine. Let's just know in the future. Here we have this coil. That is charging circuit. We have another coil here. 0.95. What about here? 1.8. Okay. This is probably for the GPU. 0.9. Okay, here 1.52. That's the RAM power supply. We have those coils 5 volts and 3.3. Exactly. For the CPU 0.8, 0.87. So everything is working fine on this motherboard. The fan is still spinning. Everything is working fine. So I'll stop this video now. I can see it's now 44 minutes trying to fix this, because this is some kind of job from another seat. We have to do proper things here. So what did we learn from repairing this motherboard? We learn if we have 3.3, you have 19 volts, you try to turn it on, it's not working. Before replacing components, what about trying to reprogram the BIOS chip? It's not always the case, but it can help. In our case, it's helping. We now have light here, and the board is still running. The fan is spinning. So I would say like, subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell. And yeah, that was a tricky repair. It's not easy, but finally we managed to fix this motherboard. We will repack the motherboard and send back to the customer. And yeah, keep checking for our contents on the channel, and we'll try by all means uploading, and probably someday we'll reach there. See you on the next one. Bye.